let's start the show. Hi guys, welcome back. It's your girl Yummy.com. Thank you for joining me again. Always a blessing and a curse, I guess. Blessing for me, curse for you, because you have to watch my stupid face. But I am doing another Tipsy movie review, and yes, it is actually a movie this time. And more so than just being a movie, it is the movie. I have been a big fan of Bo Burnham for a while now. I was very sad when he quit comedy, when he stopped doing stand-up, but I completely understood. You gotta do what you gotta do for your mental health. I also have these pins like sticking out of my braid, and they're like detrimental to my health. So in case you see those popping out, just know it couldn't be stopped. Anyways, so I've been a big fan of Bo Burnham. I've loved his comedy for a while. Was sad when he stopped, but was like, okay, he's still producing stuff. He did Gerard Carmichael's 8. He did Tambourine by Chris Rock when he was producing, directing those. Obviously, we know of his seminal classic, I guess you could call it a classic now. It's only been a couple years, but 8th Grade, super big on that. And then he acted in Promising Young Woman, which is one of my favorite movies, and I feel like got a little bit snubbed at the Oscars, but I digress. Basically, I've been a big fan of his, and when I heard that he was doing another Netflix special, I was shocked, flabbergasted, befuddled. Like, I was just confused. I was like, wait, like, why? Like, it's like one of those things where it's like, yay, I'm happy, but like, also, why? Are you okay? Because I know you said you left for mental health, so are you back because you're better, or what's going on? Like, what's going on? Like, I was like, give me, I just need to know you're okay. Like, I just turned into a mama bear. Like, are you okay, Bosif? But he ended up dropping this piece called Inside on Netflix, of course. But and it is transformative. It's transformative. Like, there's no correct way to go about discussing this movie that wouldn't take hours, alcohol, and a round table with the most brilliant minds you know. It is so interesting the way that he did this. Basically, over the time of the pandemic, he talks about how he stopped doing stand-up because he would get panic attacks on stage, which is obviously not great for your mentals, but also, like, you know, for your performing, but also your mental health is really important. You shouldn't be getting panic attacks, let alone panic attacks on stage. And then he decided that he got a lot better and he was going to start doing comedy in January of 2020, which, as we all know, became Miss Panorama, the panoramic, the pandemic that was, and it still is plaguing us. So obviously he started to do this experiment, but he started to create in this room, and it kind of reminds me, I think it may be the same room, but it looks like the room at the end of Make Happy, where he's doing the song Make Happy on the piano, just in that room. Then he leaves to go into the house with his dog and his girlfriend. But it kind of looks like that room. And if it is, that just adds all the more to the juxtaposition of this room being like his closing door end of solace. And then all of a sudden it is his kind of hell, like prison hell, creative monster of his own making. And so that was really interesting, basically. So he talks about that. So he's gone through making this for months, for like over a year. It's apparent that it's over a year. He turns 30 in this room. He basically loses his mind for the sake of art in this room. Like he's going through he has a mental all-time low in this room, and you see all these different pieces, but he also creates these transformative pieces. And again, this is not going to be like a normal Tipsy review where I'll take you through the plot, because there really is no correct way to go through this plot. There's just so much happening, and it doesn't all click and make sense until the end necessarily. Like, all of the pieces alone stand out alone, like make sense, completely makes sense, are thoughtful, are catchy, like really catchy, but also like really meta, really thought-provoking, really like saying what's on your mind. It is truly a train of thought for all of the songs, and they're all great, but you kind of start to see how they all fit like puzzle pieces. It's literally like building a puzzle, and you see how all these pieces start to fit together. And at the very end, you have that very last song that kind of combines all of the pieces that he was like hinting at the end. And then you kind of also see like how he was showing this, how he was hinting at what was going to happen within the piece, within the stand-up at the very beginning from the first song. One question that I do have and that I do pose is that, like, I have long stood by the point that I think that Bo Burnham is an artist. Obviously, we all can agree he's a comedian du jour. He is a phenomenal comedian, but he's also an excellent artist, a great visionary. But I think that he's also a song maestro. I feel like he has a musical gift that is unparalleled. For songwriting and even his vocals and production. Like, he did this whole thing by himself. He shot it by himself. He did the lights by himself, which we'll get to, because that, I think that is such a big thing of why this is also a masterpiece in my opinion. He did all of this, and the sound production of these songs are like rival what is like good. It's good music. It's genuinely good music. It's thoughtful music. It's comedic music. And why can't comedic music be like I want to know your opinion, especially what separates this from a visual album. Legally, because if I were to say this, like, I feel like he deserves a Grammy for this. Like, yes, am I being a little too presumptuous? Maybe, who knows? But I feel like he definitely deserves a Grammy for this, and not like best comedy soundtrack or like the one that Tiffany Haddish won or something. No, nominate him in a major category, baby. Okay, I feel like he deserves it after pulling this album out. Like, this was it was so good in the way that it was made. Okay, let's start off. Let's go through the main points of starting off with lighting. I'm a special kind of white guy. The lighting in this piece is phenomenal. I'm a big lighting girl. When I was in high school, I worked as a technical theater assistant, so like I did mostly camera work, but I did also do sound and lighting. I had to learn the lighting boards, and it was always my favorite part. Lighting, people say sound sets the mood, yes, but lighting sets the tone. That's something that he does very well. You can see that in his Make Happy special, which is what I talk about. Like I made a video about like the top 5 Bo Burnham songs for me, and I talk about the lighting in that one. It's amazing. It's thought-provoking. It's beautiful in that one, and it's just even more exemplary in this one. In anything that he does, you see that he sees the importance of the holistic piece, which is really important, like especially for like comedy. Like, you're just making fun, quote unquote funny songs. So why do you need to have all this intricate lighting, this beautiful like setup? It doesn't necessarily need to be necessary, but it makes it all the more of a story, all the more connective, all the more disjointing, all the more living in this uncanny valley that I feel when I'm watching this. And I've watched this special 3 times already. And I want you to know, I'm recording this the day it came out, so that means I have watched it 3 times in one day.
What's clear in this moment is that you are a total piece of shit. It's very apparent here that you've done nothing. Nothing you've done in your life is any good at all.
Am I a little obsessive? Yes, but I just didn't want to miss anything, because I know Bo Burnham is very much smarter than me, and I have no doubt that something went over my head, so I wanted to make sure I caught as much as I could before I tried to sit down and talk about this at all. But yeah, like it's stunning lighting, it's self-sufficient. He lit, the fact that he lit the whole thing himself just in that room, and the fact that he shot everything in that room, because there's so many different backdrops, there's so many different looks to it. There's a disco ball sequence that happens at the beginning. There's this blue rain like thing that happens when he's doing, like, especially like his white girl song, or is this white girl's Instagram. He goes through so many different like white girl inspired Instagram kind of vibey things, and like he does it all in this room, and it's all done and shifted with like lighting and backdrop and props and all these things that he did by himself, which is super amazing. Like, here's some of my favorite and the most stunning shots that I think came out of this.
If you wake up in a house that's full of smoke, don't panic. Call me and I'll tell you a joke. If you see white men dressed in white cloaks, don't panic. Call me and I'll tell you a joke. Oh shit, should I be joking at a time like this?
And it like, yes, the cinematography is there, but we will talk about that after. But the lighting is what is key in all of these shots. Let's talk about the cinematography.
Surprised, you know you like it, you whore.
The cinematography is so, it's like, he's that kid who, like, yeah, you clearly understood the assignment. We get it. We get it. You were excited for the assignment because you knew you were going to ace it.
And she literally knows the assignment every single time. I know every single little girl that is in the audition room gets scared. They're shaking in their boots when she comes into the room.
It's so good. Again, there's some stand-up specials that have been filmed during the pandemic. I'm mostly thinking about Kevin Hart's, but even then he had an audience. Like, so like he's still like, you know, it's still a traditional stand-up special, but this was so different because it had no audience, and that's something that, like, you know, like late night has had to do, and he talks about it also within the special, like what's a joke with no laughter?
Wanna hear you tell a joke when no one's laughing in the background.
And like, there's obviously this disjointed laughter that happens throughout the piece. Like, it just is insane. But the cinematography, that's what we're talking about here. Sorry, I got distracted. The cinematography is freaking phenomenal. What I basically wanted to say is that it didn't need to be as amazing and thought-provoking and freaking phenomenal as it could have been. It didn't need to be that great. He stunted too hard, is what I'm saying. It didn't need to be that great. He could have just given us the songs and the jokes, and we would have loved it. And he, like he said, "Daddy's coming to feed you," which I never thought I would hear Bo Burnham call himself my daddy.
I'm sorry I was gone, but look, I made you some content. Daddy made you your favorite open wide. Here comes the content. It's a beautiful day to stay inside.
Which is just a strange feeling, but that's the point. The point is that, like, he flexed too hard, because like even with the I'm gonna tie in cinematography and editing, because he edited himself too. He did everything himself, which is just insane to me, because the shot choices, the order in which he put everything, the way he chose to put the white girl Instagram in square, obviously to represent the Instagram square, like, just, it was just so awesome. The choices that he made to make when he was talking about the phone on the phone with his mom, and he went vertical, like, just shot choices. Even when he's just talking, the shot setups that he has, even when he's just talking about how, like, genuinely broken he feels about his mental state, the shots are still amazing. He has like all of these, you really can see where his mind is physically through the screen, because he has all of these wires, all of these setups in the way, all of these things. And then eventually, like, when he's really at his all-time low, about breaking point, he's trying to get through a sentence and he can't even. He's just like breaking through all of these things, and he ends up like directly at the camera, like right off the corner, not even dead center, which is just so off-putting, but it gives you a sense of where he feels his mental state is.
I am not well.
And that's like crazy insane to me, because for someone who is going through all of this, like, who is like, I can't imagine being locked in a room for over a year trying to create like something for people to enjoy, but also that is mentally stimulating for me. And he's doing this and still choosing to set up these beautiful, amazing shots. And the one, like, when he's on the floor with all the cords and the wires, will stick in my head. It looks like still pictures. Like, it looks as beautiful as a photography still picture, which is so strange to me, but like also it's just amazing. It just shows the talent that goes forth, because the just the way they set it up. And then the cuts of course are very Bo. It reminded me of like when he's like, I got sweaters coming on and off, and he's like the jump cuts of the sweaters like coming on and off during, again, Make Happy. But it's kind of like similar here. You also get to see like these small minutia moments where the scene goes on just a little too long, so it makes you really get a sense of how uncomfortable this story is supposed to make you feel. Like, this is like how real, where the lines of reality and fiction kind of like blur. And it's really amazing that he made those choices. And even sometimes you'll see him going up to turn the camera off, or like it breaks the wall of like, this is just a performance. It reminds you that this is a man locked in a room creating art and losing his mind over it. Like, it's just insane.
I'm not really feeling like I wanna get lit. Tell us how you're feeling. Well, I feel like shit. Oh, shit. Feeling like a saggy, massive sack of shit. Oh, shit. Big ol' motherfucking duffel bag of shit. Oh, shit. All day, all shit. I'm not really feeling like I wanna get lit. Tell us how you're feeling. I'm feeling like shit. Is rapidly approaching an ATL, which is that's an all-time low, not Atlanta. And you know, I feel okay when I'm asleep. Like, when I'm asleep, I feel all right, but it's basically from the moment I wake up, I just get this feeling in my body, way down deep inside me. I try not to fight it. Describe it. All right, a few things start to happen. My vision starts to flatten. My heart, it gets to tapping, and I think I'm gonna die. Yeah. So yeah, not doing great.
Yeah, so that's cinematography / editing. I think that it was beautifully done. He flexed too hard, honestly. He flexed entirely too hard. Now we're going to talk about the plot / writing of it all.
Tell us how you're feeling. Well, I feel like shit. Oh, shit.
So the writing of it all was by far nothing short of amazing. I expect nothing less from Bo Burnham. Not to say that I'm expecting anything from him, but like, if Bo makes something, I feel like it's gonna be great. But it's just so interesting to me, the plot, the songs in which he's speaking, because you can feel that he is so deeply, he's gone on this journey of being just a comedian who tells jokes, random jokes, to being a comedian who shares his not personal, but like his mental state as a relation piece to like his comedy, which it like, I look at like the video of him when he was like 20 years old in the green room with like Raymond from Everybody Loves Raymond and all these comedy geniuses, and he was just talking with them, and he literally, I remember him literally saying this.
Revealing anything yourselves.
I never talk about what I really think about on stage directly, because I don't value what I think at this point about those issues. Well, just really, like, I I don't think anyone wants to get up and hear a 20-year-old like tell them what they think about how the world works.
And that like strikes me because so much of this whole special, most if not all of this whole special, other than like, you know, like the Jeff Bezos piece and the white woman's Instagram, are his opinions, are his feelings towards the world, is his feelings towards himself, is his questioning of comedy, if he's actually making any difference that he actually wants to make.
Is comedy over? Should I leave you alone? Cause really, who's gonna go for joking at a time like this? Should I be joking at a time like this? I wanna help to leave this world better than I found it. And I fear that comedy won't help, and the fear is not unfounded.
And all of these things, much like the, again, Make Happy, it feels like he took the tail end of Make Happy, the part that was super personal and super like relatable, and he just expounded it upon in this special, and it was so amazing.
Come and watch the skinny kid with a steadily declining mental health, and laugh as he attempts to give you what he cannot give himself.
Dude, I can handle this right. I don't think that I can handle this right.
He does like subtle nods to things. He has like a kind of I don't know if this is what he was nodding to. Again, I can't say that for sure because I didn't like interview him. I can't say for sure if this is what he was nodding to, but he has this like whole song about turning 30, and he's like just in his underwear, and it's like this whole flashing light, and he's kind of dancing, and it's again cinematically beautiful, but it also did remind me of vibe of like the very end of Henry and the Angry Inch kind of a feel.
Get your fucking hands up. Get on out of your seat. All eyes on me. All eyes on me. Hey, go get your fucking hands up. Get on out of your seat. All eyes on me. All eyes on me. Yeah.
And I really did like that. He has this like sock puppet thing that kind of reminds me of his favorite comedian, the Dutch comedian Hans
Taywin.
Can you do a little bit of this thing?
He's a Dutch absurdist. One of the things he does is he brings out a sock puppet, which is a black sock.
See, already I don't like them.
Yeah, no. all right. It's a white sock.
Oh,
and
better.
then
who had like this sock puppet that he would do like bits with, and it kind of reminded me of that.
And neoliberal fascists are destroying the left, and every politician, every cop on the street protects the interests of the pedophilic corporate elite. That is how the world works. Really? That is how the world works.
So you kind of get that feel, and you see those notes and those pieces, and it was just really amazing to see it all come together. And it kind of also culminates, I think it showcases the exact mental state of the youth in 2020, like in 2021. Like it's so frazzled, but like just frazzled, insecure, over heightened, just mess of people that we are in 2020 and 2021 in this new age of internet. In the song Welcome to the Internet, like he literally describes the internet in the best and most accurate way. The internet is either the best place on earth or the worst, heinous place on earth. There is no in between. It is both and everything in between, actually. And he explains that, describes that so well. So like, other than just, you know, really grasping on who he is as a person, he also somehow pinpoints who we all are, which is very strange and interesting and amazing that he could do. Last, we're going to talk about the actual musicality of it all.
Getting up, sitting down, going back to work. Might not help, but still it couldn't hurt.
Again, like I said, I think that this should be nominated for a Grammy. I do wonder where the line between comedy special and visual album teeters. I don't think that this is not a comedy special. I think that it is absolutely a comedy special. He is telling jokes, he is talking, he is doing his bit. If him on stage before was a comedy special, this is absolutely still a comedy special. I also feel like, though, it is a visual album, and that's a category in which you see the likes of, obviously, like Beyonce. If you compare it to some actual, like the actual named visual albums, like Beyonce's Lemonade, you can see the similarities of it being predominantly songs with connecting themes. And yes, you have little bits where you talk, but it's not necessarily your whole overarching thing. I do think 100%, again, it is a comedy special, but it also feels very much like a visual album. And I will be listening to these songs all the time. So, the one where he's talking about turning 30 is a beautiful piece that I really love to watch. The last song, Get Your Fucking Hands Up, I'm not sure if that's the name of it, but that's what I'm gonna call it. And that is going on my shower playlist.
Feeling nervous? Are you having fun? It's almost over. It's just begun. Don't overthink this. Look in my eye. Don't be scared. Don't be shy. Come on in. The water's fine. We're going to go where everybody knows. Everybody knows. Everybody. We're going to go where everybody knows. Everybody knows. Get your fucking hand up. Get on out of your seat. All eyes on me. All eyes on me.
It really does encapsulate, like, the chaos and the hype of it all, but, like, kind of trying to find and fit in that. And, you know, and obviously the first song, Saving the World Through Comedy, was amazing. I love the connecting features with the very last song, that the very last song had bits of each of them, from Welcome to the Internet, from Saving the World Through Comedy, from Turning 30. Like, it had pieces of all the big numbers in between, tied into the very end. And then he flips it on its head and kind of challenges you to do his job. Like, come to his house and entertain him. Don't actually go to Bo Burnham's house, weirdos. But, like, you know, he kind of flips it on its head and puts the ball in your court, which is very interesting. And you don't see a lot of comedians do. I've just rambled and ranted and raved about Bo Burnham, as I usually do, but I do want to do what I usually do here when I do a Tipsy movie review, and that is give it a drink as a rating. And the drink that I'm giving it is a Death in the Afternoon. Death in the Afternoon is an absinthe drink. I already did absinthe, I believe, for Lord of the Rings, but this is an absinthe cocktail that was made by Ernest Hemingway himself, the thinker, and he used to drink these a little too often to, like, write, and it's named after his work, Death in the Afternoon. And I think that this is the best way to describe this piece. It is a death in the afternoon.
I watch the work of my Kimball and boyfriend, toying somewhere between love and abuse, calling to join them, the wretched and joyful, shaking the wings of their terrible youth.
Get up. I'm talking to you. Get the fuck up. Get your fucking hand up. Get on out of your seat. All eyes on me. All eyes on me. Hey, fucking get your fucking hands up. Get on out of your seat. All eyes on me. All eyes on me. Yeah, come on. Hands down. Play for me. Hands down now. Play for me.
Also, I'm really glad he clarified that he is not planning on killing himself. I didn't think ever that he necessarily was, but he was making a lot of, like, suicide jokes a little bit. Like, he's like, stopping me from putting a bullet through it. I was like, Bo, do not do, no. And he clarified that he was. I was like, okay. Again, my mama bear came out. Yeah, I really love it. I think everybody should watch it. I genuinely think it is a great piece of art. And it's interesting because he created the whole thing, that makes it so much more special. Like, he created it from top to bottom, from lighting, sound, writing, music, singing, everything, editing, everything. And this is the way to do it. This is the way to create a piece of art that is holistically yours. I mean, technically Netflix obviously owns it, but it was you who did it from conception to sending it out into the world. And I'm super proud of that for him.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
With that being said, I highly recommend you go watch it. I'm yummy.com. Don't worry, I will be back, so stay
Thank you for
tuned.
watching my content. As you guys know, I work really hard to try to bring you guys high quality content that I think you'll enjoy. So the fact that you are enjoying it means everything to me. So thank you. And also, keep watching, because there's a lot more content where that came from. All right, guys. See you later.